Julian Bond. He was charismatic, beautiful, intellectual, and just as different as anybody could possibly be in the 1960s.
Yes, he was. Julian was Julian was just a different kind of person. He marched to a different drum beat. He was very warm but very shy. A lot of people didn't know that about him. Uh, he was Julian had more brains in his Julian had more brains in his little finger than most people have in their heads. Julian was brilliant. He was a genius. He was. I remember when I first started teaching, I asked him to come to the school, my first school I taught in, and I asked him to come in and speak for Black history. And he did. And he came over, and when he came in, we spoke, and we talked, and he was standing there. He was so handsome. And the teacher started saying, "Oh, my God, he's so handsome. He's so good looking. Oh, Mr. Bond, we didn't know." And Julian got behind me and said, "Oh, Celestine, make him stop, and make him stop." And I said, "Julian, you haven't gotten out of it." And so he's so shy. He was, "Oh, Celestine, make him stop talking." And I couldn't believe he was still that shy. And people said, "Oh, I didn't know he was that shy," but he was basically shy. Julian was a pacifist. He was a pacifist. He was a very warm, but a very warm person who didn't try to stand out. People called him out. He came because he was called. He didn't show up. He didn't show out. You had to call him out. He would rise to the occasion. Wonderful speaker, a wonderful speaker. And this is I remember the day he and Alice got married, and they had gotten married, and the group had decided they were going to have a spaghetti dinner, and so I hadn't come, and they called and told me they had gotten married, and said, "Please come for the spaghetti," and I said, "Well, no, I won't be able to come," and so the next day I heard that they thought they were having a civil rights demonstration on Fair Street. So the groups had gotten together to do spaghetti when the day they got married. After the spaghetti was over, they all got in about 4 or 5 cars and went down Fair Street. And they were blowing horns and hollering, "Hey," just rejoicing. So the police stopped them because they thought they were demonstrating, but they weren't. They were just celebrating Julian and Alice's wedding, their marriage. So when I found out about it, I said, "Oh, I should have gone." But this was, I would see him from time to time. I have not seen Julian now in several years. And the last time I saw him in passing. And I looked and he was just smiling at me. We waved, and he said, "How is it?" I said, "Good." He said, "Good to see you." I said, "Great to see you, Julian." But he was a wonderful person. Very quiet strength was what he had. Quiet strength.
Your former boyfriend and Julian were friends. In fact, your former boyfriend is the reason you didn't go to that wedding. Okay.
Yes, I didn't tell
things.
that.
Okay.
I didn't tell that.
Okay. I know you didn't tell that.
I didn't kill
Okay,
it.
I'll keep most of that quiet, but tell me about the friendship between Gip and Julian.
John and Julian were very close. John Gibson and Julian were very close. They were, when, as I remember, Julian was John's oldest child's godfather, and John was his child's godfather. So they stayed friends through the years, as far as I know, because after we broke up, after John and I broke up and I married, I had no contact with him anymore. And but they were very, very close, and they did things together. They did things together. So this was and so John's been dead for so long. John's been dead now, over 40 years. So he died very young. And Julian and Alice divorced, and Julian left. But I would see and hear more about him than I did when I saw him. But the last time I saw him was here. He was here to speak for something. That's what I was telling you. And I saw him, and he smiled. He said, "How is it?" I said, "Good, good to see you. So,
If you were able to say something to Julian and he was right here, can you look at him and tell him what you would have to say to him? Look right into this camera, right, pretend that's Julian.
if Junior were here, I would want to know if he was still as shy now as he had always been. If he ever, I would want to know if Julian ever got out of that shyness, because he was truly shy. You know, he was really, really shy. It's just very, 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 very smart. I know he was still brilliant, but nobody, unless you really knew him, you didn't know that he was shy.